Hi, and welcome to the Golden Age Report. So let's start out by talking about the latest developments on the battlefield. Several explosions were reported on the live UA maps in the Kharkiv region. So after Russia activated the southern front, it looks like the north is starting to heat up now too. We're hearing that Zelensky is moving a large amount of equipment into a zone that the British intelligence advised against doing quite some time ago. It's described as a bit of a winter death trap area. Tanks and armored vehicles and other weapon systems are being sent down the rail lines towards the northern LPR. Let's remember that many believe that Russia can easily invade from the north and cut off and encircle these troops. So today, air raid sirens went off across eastern and southern Ukraine. We'll have to wait to hear what comes out of that. On another front, we're hearing numerous reports that the U.S. is telling Ukraine they must withdraw from Bakhmut immediately to save lives. So we'll see. Bakhmut is being slowly but surely encircled, and soon they're going to be totally cut off from supplies. So we'll see what he does. The first reaction that he's done so far is to order the general staff to prepare for additional military reserves. We've heard many speculate that they're way overdrawn already on that. So in the south, it's a bit of a fog of war as neither side is willing to release the details of what's going on. What we do know is that Russia says it has bettered its positions today. Also, they released some footage of their T-90M tanks hammering positions in one of the tactical directions down in the south. They claim to have neutralized the concentration of manpower and hardware in the area. Near Kyiv, the Russian armed forces are consolidating their previously liberated territories and are actively reconning the enemy's positions. Artillery and army aviation are striking at enemy strongholds and identifying firing points. We also heard that Ukraine command has said that there were heavy missile strikes all across the Zaporozhye region. We're just hearing that the new forces that came down on the rail to the north are having trouble with their operations due to dense artillery fire across the entire front line. So we're hearing reports coming from the Bakhmut area that the closer that you get to the city, the more broken the equipment. So you have to look at Kherson and wonder what is going on there. Russia said that they were going to take Kherson back later in the war, and when you look at what Ukraine has defending it, well, right now they only have this Navy Special Operations Force there in the Kherson city, and there's really not a ton around it in the whole region. So Russia had said that they would take Kherson and then move on and eventually take Odessa. So we'll have to see. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets kicked off pretty soon here. Next, let's take a look at this arms race that's going around. So the UK has stepped up the process of modernizing their country's armed forces. First, they're going to have to replace the depletion of their stockpiles caused by the large packages that they were delivering to Ukraine throughout the war. So next, they've placed an order for 3 brigades of Type 26. So they're saying by 2030 they will have 8 new ships. That seems a bit ways off, so Russia and China are cranking out ships like there's no tomorrow. They're also working with the Swedish on several thousand anti-tank missiles. Out in the near future, they're planning to sign an agreement with Japan and Italy on the development of a 6th-generation Tempest fighter. This will be armed with hypersonic missiles. Out in Taiwan, they're taking steps to establish a fleet of 3,000 drones to try to counter the Chinese invasion. Hoping to have that in place by the end of 2023, but that seems a little bit aggressive. Starting next year, Taiwan is making it mandatory for military service to be extended 1 more year. But out in South Korea, Yoon is threatening that South Korea could acquire its own nuclear weapons. Apparently they're feeling the threat from North Korea, and they're saying that they could have their own nuclear weapons pretty quickly because they already have the scientific technology and capabilities. Out in India, they're getting their 3rd shipment of S-400s from Russia. This defense system is thought to be one of the most advanced. It is the most advanced that's available outside of Russia. Now, Russia still has their S-500s and S-550s. So India is doing joint drills with Japan. Their ultimate goal sounds like it's to have Japan invest in its military-industrial complex. So out in Turkey, they're in talks with the UK to try to get some Type 23 frigates. Erdogan is looking to purchase at least 3 frigates from the UK to upgrade its aging fleet. Also recall that Erdogan is relentlessly trying to get those F-16s from the US. They're still blocking the NATO expansion, and we have even more folks out in Washington hammering for Turkey to be removed from NATO. Lincoln recently had a meeting with the Turkish foreign minister in Washington. Oh, what a change in tone. It was okay for the US and Turkey to have differences. It sounds like nothing was accomplishing, but it's interesting to see this about face by the Biden administration. It's quite a turn from their usual authoritarian style. So in South Africa, there's been some recent developments that's been pretty interesting. So remember that South Africa is, of course, part of the BRICS. The U.S. is angry at these Russian cargo ships that were in a South African naval port. But apparently a defense review consultant said that there was 4.5 million rounds of ammo that was being exchanged with South Africa. So even more interestingly is this recent announcement that South Africa is going to do joint naval drills with China and Russia. South Africa doesn't have a very formidable navy, but this is interesting in their alliance with them. So these latest actions from South Africa is going to trigger us to add them to our alliance tracking chart. So out in Pakistan, we have this message from Putin to Pakistan that he wants to deepen its ties and relations with Pakistan. So I think this, along with its deep ties to China and the fact that it's part of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, we're going to go ahead and add them to Russian alliance. So in Iran, they're really cranking up the pressure on the Iranians. So this latest escalation is the European Parliament approving a resolution calling for Paris designation for the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. Now, senior Iranian officials are extremely upset over this whole resolution. So Iran already has 10 planes about to be delivered from Russia. Now they have this Egyptian Air Force has diverted their planes to Iran, and this is a really large order of 24 Su-35SEs. Iran is quickly upgrading their Air Force. There's this new report about North Korea coming from the Pentagon saying that they have some satellite photos that North Korea is arming Wagner PMC. This comes right after Washington declared that the Wagner Group is a terrorist organization, which the Wagner Group has responded. Let's recall what the Wagner Group did when the EU declared them a terrorist organization. They sent them the bloody sledgehammer. Also, we're hearing this new news about those bombs that were sent out a while back in the packaging. Sounds like the US and European officials suspect that Russian intelligence directed an ethno-nationalist group to mail bombs in Spain and also Ukrainian diplomats. So it sounds like we're seeing more signs of panic as, out of nowhere, Germany and France reaffirmed the importance of their nation's post-war alliance. So it sounds like they want to make sure that they have allies when this whole thing falls apart. Sounds like the French and German defense ministries are also developing a plan to deploy both their armies together in both exercises in Romania and Lithuania, and then also naval exercises.